Just when you think the New York Times can't get any crazier, which by the way, I read the New York Times so you don't have to. I'm going to read verbatim an article that was in the New York Times. I think it was in the news section, and it was a guy being serious. The headline is Trump orders investigation of Biden and his aides. The executive order is the latest by President Trump to stoke outlandish conspiracy theories about his predecessor and questions the legality of his actions in office. Let's bring our panel back before I read some of the more hilarious parts. Natalie Beisner and Matt Riggle join us. Guys, okay, so we're setting the tone there. He's pushing outlandish conspiracy theories. What are those outlandish conspiracy theories? Working to examine whether or not President Biden's actions were legally invalid because his aides had enacted those policies without his knowledge. I feel like everybody with eyes that could see Joe Biden would go, yeah, I think that might actually be a problem. Maybe we should investigate it. But no, not to the New York Times. It is outlandish. Natalie, is it? I don't know. Am I crazy? Is this not that crazy of an outlandish conspiracy theory to go, hey, maybe we should check into the legality of the auto pen? What did he know? What didn't he know? I feel like this is reasonable.
No, it's definitely a strong possibility. And the fact that they're still calling it a conspiracy theory when now, what is it? How many books have come out about this? And Karine Jean-Pierre is coming out with a book that seems to be pretty damning although it's poorly timed and should have come out sooner, it seems to be damning towards the Biden White House. So they can keep calling it conspiracy theories, but I don't think this story is going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, and it's going to get worse and more people are going to come out, and it's not going to be anonymous anymore. So
Yeah.
good luck with that.
Matt, I guess from a guy who crafts words for a living as a comedian, you do as well. Where do you go if something truly outlandish happens? Let's just say, hypothetically, the president gets abducted by aliens one day, gets brought back within 12 hours. What do they say then? They've already used outlandish conspiracy on looking into something thoroughly reasonable.
Yeah, I know you read the New York Times, so we don't have to, but I read it anyway. And, one of the other conspiracies is, that he was replaced with a robot. And personally, if I were Biden, I would have been like, oh, I totally was. Like, that wasn't me. Like, I wouldn't want to take credit for the things, the laws, the pardons, all that stuff. And then another interesting wording in the New York Times was Trump and he was retaliating against his perceived enemies, and perceived could also be a word that you use when you say Michael Jordan was perceived to know how to play basketball.
Yeah, right. Well, it's fascinating too. Just to be fair too, they did highlight something that I understood clearly as a joke, but again, libs take everything seriously and exactly. They were like, oh well, Trump retruthed something that some person said, and I was like, yeah, this is clearly a joke. Interesting how you didn't link that, New York Times, but I don't know. The New York Times making stuff up as they always do. It doesn't really surprise anybody.